Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for checking out the video. This is week 3 of the SRL Power Rankings. I am Coach SsideBraves and Nashville Neato Kings, and once again this week I am joined by Coach Aboot of the Fargo Flaws.
What's up, guys? Glad to be here for the power rankings.
Alright, so again, last week I said they were a little bit rushed. I did the video solo last week, but we are back. Took a little bit more time this week and got stuff set up the way we wanted to, and the video should be out on time this week. So all that being said, let's just jump on into it. First off, at number 16, we have the Rally Goons, who lost a 3-6 match this week to the Immunity Idols. Unfortunately, this team has struggled so far to start the season. They are sitting at 0-3. Kind of seems due to maybe lack of time, lack of prep. Kind of brought the same squad or close to the same squad every single week, and it has allowed his opponents to game plan for that. If you watch the Immunity Idols video, he calls it out kind of throughout the video that he kind of knows what sets he's going to have due to that fact. So that's kind of leading to some of those struggles. Did give his MVP of the week to his Jellicent, because again, if you saw the Immunity Idols perspective of the match, he wanted to set up and sweep with his Como, but he knew with the Jellicent there he couldn't do it. So this only being a 6-3 is just due to the fact that Jellicent was around. So that did prevent the differential from being any worse. So that is the Rally Goons sitting at 16. Moving on to number 15, we have the Gallagher Ninjas. And Coach Shibby here in the Greninjas fall to 15 this week, falling 5 spots. And it was unfortunate. I believe he actually picked up the win in the match, if I remember correctly, either a close loss or the win, but unfortunately brought a Pokemon that's not on his roster in Charizard. So that led to a 6-0 forfeit loss. So not much to say there. Obviously didn't give an MVP because it was a forfeit loss due to the fact that he brought the wrong Mon. So yeah, not much more to say. He falls to 15 due to that. The Porygons, the team that picked up the 6-0 win, actually raised 2 spots. Again, not much to say here. Didn't give an MVP. He picked up a forfeit win, but still thinks I think he deserves to be in front of the 2 behind him, even though we didn't actually get to see any of his matchup or anything like that. So again, just going to kind of gloss over that one. Moving on to number 13, we have the Fargo Failings, and Coach Aboot's going to talk about that one.
The Fargo Failings, they were involved in a pretty close match this week, 4-5, lots of switching and everything. We moved him up to number 13, and the MVP for CoachNanny and the Failings was Melodic, picking up their lone kill.
Alright, so that being said about the Failings, they do stay at 13, but he did unfortunately drop the league after this match, and I believe we have a new coach all set. I'm sorry, I don't remember the new coach's name off the top of my head, but I do know his team name is the Atlanta Talonflames. So taking over this spot at 13 will be the Atlanta Talonflames next week, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the league. So moving on to number 12. We do have Coach Aboot here in the Falador Flapples. They actually fall 5 spots after an 0-4 loss this week to the Wedgehurst Rillaboom. And this one really came down to one surprise kill that I think both Coach Aboot and the Rillaboom, if I remember correctly, both of them were surprised by. The Lapras Surf killing a G-Max Charizard in one shot kind of got the Flapples behind in this match, and at that point it was too much to recover from. So, like I said, that one move kind of set the pace for the entire match and sees Coach Aboot fall 5 spots.
And let me tell you, I got rolled by this weakness policy Lapras. I was not expecting it.
Alright, so that being said, moving on to number 11. And we have the Wild Area Renegades. They fall 7 spots. They were one of those teams that took over after week 1, I believe. I believe they were the first of the replacement coaches. And I've kept them up in the top, waiting for them to kind of show what they got instead of inheriting what was already there. And unfortunately, his schedule has been very tough to start the season. I think he's played 3 top 5 teams and has lost all 3 of them. So at 0-3, I don't think I can justify keeping him up there anymore. So he does fall down to 11th. But again, he's played a very tough schedule, so I'm excited to see what he does in the upcoming weeks against, I'm not going to say easier opponents, but not as tough as some of the ones he's played, because he's played some of the best in the league already. Alright, so moving on to number 10. We have the Wedgehurst Rillaboom, the team that beat Coach Aboot with that Lapras and that weakness policy. He moves up 4 spots, cracking the top 10 this week. He is sitting at 1-2. Did give his MVP to his G-Max Lapras. who, like I said, picked up the biggest kill of the game, not in G-Max form, but again, he kind of rolled over Coach Aboot, so that's why he gets the MVP for this team this week. So, yeah, moving on to number 9. We have the Immunity Idols. He raises 3 spots this week. His MVP is Galarian Weezing. Again, he did play the 16th ranked team in the Rally Goons, picked up that 6-3 win. Again, if the Jellicent wasn't present, probably could have made it worse, but unfortunately had to play around that. This team has been very successful so far in the season. They are sitting at 3-0, and I've been impressed with their matches. But if you look at their schedule, they've played number 13, number 14, and number 16. So while I'm impressed with 3-0 from one of the new coaches, hasn't had the toughest schedule so far. I believe this week he plays the reigning champ in Sen in the Cerulean City Mewtwo. So this will be his first real test when we see if he's actually one of the better coaches in this league, one of the better teams, or if he's taking advantage of the schedule he's been given. So I'm excited to see that. He may raise up into the top 5 here soon, or may sit where he's at, depending on how he does against that tougher competition. So yeah, moving on to number 8.
For number 8, we've got the Nashville Neatos Kings and Coach Southside. He came into this match a little unprepared this week and took the 0-3 loss for his efforts. He did have one Pokemon that stood out a little bit. His Charizard picked up 2 kills, but it wasn't enough to turn the tides in this battle.
Yep, Coach Boot's absolutely right. Did come in this rushed. I love prepping for matches. It's one of my favorite parts, and I put absolutely 0 prep into this one and just brought the same exact team from the week before. I will not make that mistake again. Did not make that mistake in my week 4 match. But, yeah, I'll let you see how that one goes. But, yeah, I sit at number 8.
And in number 7, we've got the Lavender Town Gengars going up to 2-1. They picked up that close match over the Fargo Phalanx. And their MVP this week was Morpeko, able to come in and crack open the defenses of the Fargo Phalanx, picking him up the win this week.
All right, moving on to number 6.
Number 6, we've got the Straw Hat Crocodiles. They are 1-2, but they picked up a pretty big win this week over the Neatos Kings, moving up a little bit. And their MVP was absolutely Kiram. This Mon just came in and swept. It got 4 kills this week, and there wasn't really anything on the Neatos Kings that could stop it.
Yep, absolutely true. Absolutely nothing on my team that can stop it. And I just want to say real quick, he is sitting at 1-2, but those 2 losses were before he took over. So he won his first match. So he is 1-0, but his team is 1-2. So that being said, moving on to number 5.
At number 5, we have the New York Knicks going up to 2-1, and they picked up the first win they gave the Mewtwo's their first loss this season, which is a pretty impressive feat for them. They won a close match 4-5 versus the Mewtwo's, and I gave the MVP to the coach of the Knicks to Mantine this week. Coming in and picking up a kill, it was a key part of his defenses, and that water absorb came in huge handy against the Dracovish of the opposing team, shutting it down pretty much for most of the match.
Yep, just want to add real quick that I do believe this is the biggest climb of the week. I think he went up 6 spots, so congrats to the Knicks for that. All right, moving on to number 4.
Number 4, dropping all the way down from number 1, was Coach Sen of the Cerulean City Mewtwo's. He lost that close match against the Knicks, and his MVP was Mandibuzz, keeping him in the game with that iron defense, pretty much preserving his differential. So that was a big key part of his team this week.
All right, so as he said, he did fall 3 spots. And it's weird having the Knicks behind the Mewtwo, seeing how they just beat them. But don't think we should penalize the reigning champ that hard for it. I mean, it's very close between that 4 and 5 spot. But we are going to keep the Mewtwo at number 4 for now. Moving on to number 3.
In number 3, we have CoachNanny and the Stark Mountain Giratinas. He took a loss this week, putting him down at 2-1, but he was pretty high before that, so he's still up there. It was against the top 5 opponent, so definitely should have been a close match. His MVP was G-Max Snorlax picking up the only kill. Unfortunately, it didn't have that psychic move he was looking for in prep. But, yeah, so he took the close loss this week.
Yep. if he has that Zen headbutt on it, that battle could have gone very differently for him. I think he knows that and was rather frustrated by it. All right, moving on to number 2. And we have the Lisbon Arcanine and CoachSquid here. One of the last 3 unbeatens. He is sitting at 3-0. He picked up a 4-0 win over, sorry, I'm trying to remember who he played, the Wild Area Renegades. So he did pick up the 4-0 win there. His MVP goes to the Scyther, which I love to see. I love seeing Scyther be relevant, one of my favorite Gen 1 Mons. So absolute shout out for using that as effectively as he did. He climbed up 3 spots, again, to get to that number 2. So congrats to CoachSquid on making it there. But I think we had a pretty clear number 1 overall, in my opinion, this week. And Coach Aboot's going to tell us about him.
Yeah, our number 1 for this week is the 3-0 Helgen Hydreigons. They had a strong showing last week. Last season, they were always around rank 2, and they finally move up to rank 1 in this week of SRL Season 2. And they picked up the 5-4 win over the Giratinos. And I gave his MVP to Quillfish this week because it was just such a key part of his defense. There was nothing that could really get through it. He had really good resistances versus the opposing squad and just came in and intimidated everything and pretty much kept the control in the hands of Hydreigons.
Yep. Congrats to Coach Blattle becoming the new number 1 after the Mewtwo fall. In my opinion, I think he's been by far the most dominant team in the league this year right now. I think 3 weeks in, he's at a plus 11 differential, if I remember correctly, which is insane. So, and he just took down a top 3 opponent. So, yeah, Coach Blattle's sitting there at the number 1 spot. All right, that being said, last thing we want to talk about is our MVP and Coach of the Week. Coach of the Week we gave to the New York Knicks. Again, they were the first one to take down the reigning champ this year. We had him ranked at 11th last week, and taking down the number 1 is a huge feat for that team. So it saw him go up 6 spots, and that being said, we gave him Coach of the Week for that win. The MVP of the week, I think, was kind of between 2 Mons, and I think it was kind of between the 2 that dominated both mine and Coach Aboot's teams, to be honest, between Lapras and Kiram. But I think we both kind of came to an agreement that we believe that Kiram from the Straw Hat Crocodiles, picking up those 4 kills against me, deserves MVP of the week. So congrats to Kiram from the Crocodiles roster. All right, all that being said, I think that's all we got for you this week, unless Coach Aboot, you want to add anything?
No, I think it was a pretty good week. Lots of good showings from a lot of teams. Hopefully nobody's disqualified next week.
Yep, hopefully this is our final 16. We get to the end of the season. Yeah, and lastly, I think there's, 12 of the 16 teams right now are either 1-2 or 2-1. So again, if you're anywhere in that middle, you could fall or rise very, very quickly. A lot of teams very even. So these are fun to do, and I think we'll start to see some separation here in the rankings as we continue in the upcoming weeks. All right. All that being said, thanks for checking out the video, guys. We'll see you next week.